we've met a ghost for a change. And this time, Lucca didn't waste any time and tried to quickly dispatch of it, which unfortunately turned out to be a much more difficult task than he might have thought. And you got into a pretty intense fight that escalated quite quickly, but luckily, as ghosts often are, this one seemed to be sight-bound to the room that you encountered it in, which was some sort of scriptorium. And if you remember, for a few moments before Lucca moved into the room, you actually saw the ghost supervise unseen, um, uh, what are they called? Like acolytes or librarians copying scripture of some kind as she was moving between the little nooks, looking over, seemingly looking over the shoulder of people that weren't there, but as you've seen before, um, this ghost kind of just went through the motions of what may have been her original task way in the past. So that was one thing that you learned about her. The other thing you learned that there is apparently some deep-seated sadness because she multiple times let out this wailing cry that made you even like look inward a little bit and think about your own missed opportunities and you know frustrating losses. So there must be something in her past related to that as well, apparently.
She also cried out for someone by name. I forgot the exact name.
Correct. She cried out for Volok, if you remember that name from somewhere. Um, all right. So, but you had withdrawn back into um the collection room, and I think I'm gonna activate the map here. Yeah. And that's where we dropped the curtain last time. So the question is, what do you want to do?
All right, well, this time I'm going to go in and shut the door behind me, and I will just continue to blast the ghost with fire until it eventually dissipates, and the rest of you just stay safely out here. I don't think it can hurt me much, so.
Hmm. I was going to ask Birke to go sacrifice herself for possession this time, but if you volunteer, then by all means, please do that. Just scream very loudly if we need to take you out of there.
Oh, yes, possession. I'm not sure if a ghost can possess me. Can a ghost possess me? Luca wonders to himself.
Maybe before you do that, we take 10 minutes to patch ourselves up, and this way, if you do get possessed, we are in fighting shape.
If you insist, I remain unaffected, but very well.
And we'll start. How much we've used, but treat wounds.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've lost track how often have we used treat wounds in our past since time.
Well, I don't need to do that. I can just, use my divine powers.
Anyway, I will try to beat Birke while you recharge your power.
I know we've made a few recall knowledge checks on ghosts. Do I know if they can use their possession ability on undead? Or would you like me to roll another one?
Yeah, we've done a couple of those, you're right. I think you have no reason to believe that they couldn't if you're, especially you yourself would probably know of yourself that you're somewhat of an atypical undead, given the fact that you have a mind and I think you probably think of yourself as having a soul too. Um, so you have no belief to think otherwise. No reason to believe otherwise.
Well, I suppose since I am already animating these remains, the door is sort of open for any spirit who wish to take over these old bones. So, perhaps it would be rather a risk.
So are you having second thoughts about your plan?
Well, I would hate the notion of being responsible for any of your departures from the mortal coil. So, uh, perhaps we save it for some time when we are better equipped. It seems that the magic of this wand is wearing off on me in very unfortunate ways, but perhaps there can be some utility put to this travesty, and I could use such magic to try and hurt the ghost more effectively. Although it seems, and he kind of pulls out the wand again and waves it in the air a little bit. It seems that whatever surge of foul positive energy was passing through me has dissipated for the time being.
Well, by the way, since you mentioned it, I've back when we were in town, I've procured some wire, some string, and quite a bit of rawhide. So if you ever start falling apart, I think I'll have some ideas how to put you back together.
Oh, splendid. Yeah, so usually
Well,
it's a simple matter of, and he kind of picks out a splintered shin bone and tosses it aside and reaches in his bag and replaces it with another. Usually it's a simple matter, but sometimes I suppose when my
okay.
binding is feeling rather weak, it may be helpful to have some external
Well, now
assistance.
I'll take note to get some tree sap or or rather or more resins for better binding, I guess. Is it snap fit or something?
That's not precisely the sort of binding I meant, but point taken regardless.
Okay, so Toma will take one of these stands and will drag it over to the door, just in case.
Yes, that will keep the ghost from passing through the door.
Exactly.
Oh, I have a actually I have a rules question. So I have a staff of necromancy now, right?
Yep.
Can I use the same hand that I'm holding the staff in for performing components? Because I know there's like
So
I
you
can't
have
remember. I know there's some things you can perform
yeah
components while
you
you're
you,
holding an item.
you have two types. You have somatic and material.
Right.
Somatic, you can just do like big vague gestures, and material, you need to reach into the pouch and pull out, the batguan or whatever, and for those you need a free hand.
So I always need a free hand for the material components, but there
which
are
are not which are not the most common ones.
right. So okay. So I could even perform somatic components with the wand in hand. It's just the material components. Huh. All right. Um okay, cuz I'm trying to juggle the torch and the wand and the staff. Am I
Yeah.
maybe it's time for me to lose a light source.
Yeah, we do have two now. Yeah.
Right. Well, let me put a just he just kind of attaches the continual flame torch to his belt. Actually, if he just hangs it on his belt and it continues to produce light, can he still see, or like how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, you mean the ever-burning torch?
Or the ever
Um,
burning torch, yeah.
yeah, I think you can just safely attach that somewhere to you.
Oh, but when I only wear it, it puts the light out. That's unfortunate. It won't let
And
me put the light on.
it does change the tint of the light on the map.
Yeah, yeah, it actually has a like a color to it. But, I mean, I suppose I can just add an aura of light to myself, to my token, if that's acceptable.
So what's the problem with turning it on? I mean, you should have.
No, just when I switch it to being a worn item instead of holding it in one
Oh,
hand.
oh, I see. And it
I
needs you
guess
to do
you
that.
could you could just drag on yourself any like light source from a light spell.
Oh, yes, there's that
Yeah.
as well. Oh, I think I could just do this. There we go. I think I'm emanating light right now.
Well, oh,
Yes, I
maybe
seem to
not.
be. My token is emanating light. I think I'm very well. He just shoves it into like a little strap on a belt, and it's glowing. It's kind of, I imagine it's kind of flopping and dangling around, and every time it does so, it makes like shadows shift a little strangely, um but it's frees up his hand, so he's got the staff in one hand. I think we already used the wand today, so he's not worrying about the wand, but actually, where did that staff go? Why is it not equipped? There we go. There we are.
Did we search the bookshelves in this room?
I don't believe we had much occasion to. Would be a good idea. Let's see.
Okay. So, first of all, Soma, you could give me that religion check here, since you are investigating as your what is called exploration activity.
Can I attempt to aid her?
Yeah, you probably should because I don't have any religion.
Yeah, you can also try it yourself if you like.
Perhaps I will attempt my.
I mean, the exploration activities are always kind of weird, and I've been meaning to actually bring that up to you. So I just wanted to make sure in terms of expectations, like the exploration activities give you, depending on what you do, they might give you an automatic behind the scenes sort of role, but it's still perfectly fine if you want to enter a room and say explicitly like I'm going to look for stuff. That's still perfectly fine, and you can do that in addition to doing your exploration activity. Um, just wanted to make that clear. Okay, so I see Lucca and I see Soma. Okay, so yeah, maybe what happens is that Soma, kind of in passing, points out the scene on the northern doors, as being of interest, and she says like this looks almost like it must have some religious significance. It's just strange to have this as part of a library. Um, but neither Soma nor Lucca can really make sense of it, um, because you do not recognize any particular specific iconography or imagery as associated with any god that you could name.
What is the scene again?
But the scene is it's essentially a cemetery, but all the graves are empty and open, and from the graves rises a mist, and in that mist you can see lots and lots of like ghostly shapes, that are essentially like rising from those empty graves, and the mist coalesces into a feminine shape, that just has it makes your skin crawl a little bit. It's a very strange looking shape, but you can tell that it has like feminine features to it. Yeah, but none of that imagery is easy for you to connect to any name, any of the gods that you would be aware of. So as you're like maybe interestedly discuss the the carving, Ottardo and I'm sure Birke too are looking over the bookshelf, see if they spot any items of interest. And oh yeah, indeed, there is a total of 6 bulk of
Ooh.
valuable books. Hmm.
We're gonna carry them.
6. Well, I think Ottardo can safely take 2, which he will do. And let's see, Birke. Birke can take more. Birke can safely take 3.
I can take one.
And that would be the final one.
Give me that book.
All right.
I will help.
Yeah, and it's not just the books that you're grabbing here as you feel like those are probably the most interesting to Morlabent. You, in general, you realize that this collection here seems to have been um, more curated than what you saw in the main library. And there is actually a +2 item bonus on checks to recall knowledge about any of the topics in this room. And let me tell you which one those are. Doop, 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 doop.
It's going to be something gross.
Of course. Actually, not. It's not that gross. It's any recall knowledge check on regional history, arcane topics, or occult topics. Gain a +2 bonus here.
Ooh. Could there be something regarding this scene here in this library? Is it worth taking the time to look?
Well, I'm willing to give it a try at least. If we can find some reference material. And if we don't, then Soma will pilfer some of the pages from less valuable books to take a rubbing of the scene, the doors.
I can only imagine Birke is just itching to crack open a few of these tomes.
I'm sure she is. Yeah, I mean, sure, you can spend a couple of hours doing research, both in this collection and the main wing of the library.
Well, do
That's
we
what you want to do.
have hours, or perhaps a later time? Now that I think about it,
No.
since
For now, nobody rushes in to kill us, so I think we're more or less safe unless we're willing to go seek danger again by ourselves instead of waiting for it to come to us.
We do have these 2 doors that we haven't checked yet.
yes,
So there might be something.
I just noticed there was a door here.
Well,
maybe we could check those, and once that is done,
yes, that seems sufficient. How many more ghosts do you think are hiding behind those doors?
Let me roll a d12. All right, so you move into position to open that
Yep.
other door to the south.
Mhm.
Okay. Brace yourself, and you open it up, and you almost hurl.
Oh,
There are long shelves and there's with several chairs drawn up to them, and they're all around the perimeter of the room, on all sides except for the north side, which is where you're looking in. But what really like twists your insides is the rancid stains of old blood and decay that cake the shelves and the floor, and the piles of bodies that are decomposing and just have been thrown in here. All of the dead ghouls from your earlier encounters have just been tossed in here in a pile, and they are the smell in here is quite ripe at this point, and it's just gross.
Well, we did see the marks. Guess we should have expected it.
That's a lot of. I guess we have killed quite a few of these ghouls, haven't we? Shouldn't be a surprise. Meat storage.
Anything else of note in the meat locker? Oh, sorry, I didn't see the prompt.
That's okay. I'll take that roll that you did.
Sorry.
And yeah, so that's fine. Both Lucca and Ottardo, you notice two things. One of the things is noticeable, maybe to Lucca. Maybe you have more of a stomach to actually look at the ghoul remains. And you notice there's like in various places their flesh is starting to like turn slightly violet, and if you maybe use your staff of necromancy carefully to prod a little bit to like inspect those patches of violet flesh, you push it up a little bit, and right in the thick of the decaying, rotting meat, there's all of these little strings of mycelia, as there's apparently some fungus that is growing on them, and in their flesh, as they are essentially dry aging in here. Ottardo, you are probably more interested in actually finding, anything out about this room, and you notice on the southern wall there's a section of the shelving that actually doesn't really hold any materials. It has like a maybe an inkwell and like a quill, but they're glued to the shelf itself, and that's because you can actually fold it down and thus gain access to what looks like a secret door in the wall.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, he would like to try and access that.
All right. Yeah. So you carefully open that door, and there's just a innocent seeming little corridor behind it, and a door at the other end.
Shall we? And with no
Just
response. Yeah.
one question before we go further. Can Luca tell from looking at this? Does it look like this fungal infection has just been kind of taking hold naturally, or does he get more of the sense that it has been like deliberately seeded into these wounds?
Okay. Do you have any skill check that might be relevant with?
Probably not. I
ability?
have no proficiency with medicine. Um,
Okay.
I have I don't
You
have
can roll.
survival. I have nature.
Okay. You can roll. Yeah, nature is fine. Nature would work. Try a nature roll. Okay. Um, So you spot here and there, you spot bits of fungus matter. I'm pretty sure that it's that violet fungus that you were fighting, a bigger version of that. Remember that you were fighting that in a room.
Mhm.
Um, and you see like bits and pieces of that that must have been like almost sprinkled over that pile of ghouls, and it looks like from those little bits and pieces, the fungus has spread out into the flesh of the bodies. So yeah, it looks like someone quite deliberately seasoned these cadavers.
It appears that they had full intention to continue making use of these bodies even after their true death.
But do you mean like eat them or reanimate them?
Well, neither, but more to recycle them in the form of more of those fungi that we did battle with. It
Uh,
does seem strange considering their uh, proclivity for consuming flesh that they would instead prefer to feed it to a fungus.
but I guess we should clean this up at some point.
It would be wise for us to
Yeah.
incinerate the room before we find ourselves with more of those uh, walking purple mushroom things to face.
Yeah. I wholly agree.
Well, maybe after we finish figuring
Yes,
out.
I do not suspect it poses any immediate threat.
And once everyone is ready, Ottardo will reach for the other door.
All right, and you behold a pretty small room that has a little alcove in a corner. Um, and that little alcove is decorated with a silvery circle of inlaid runes. But otherwise, the room is just empty.
Mhm. Didn't we see those runes on the floor above?
You can give me an Arcana roll if you like.
Other skill that our bard doesn't know.
You, I can attempt to assist you, or
Yeah.
think on
Well,
it myself.
yeah. Go ahead if you like. Soma, yeah, indeed. You think that those are the same kind of rules you see here. Whereas Lucca will quickly inform you that no, even though it may seem like they are the same to the uninitiated, as a matter of fact, the ones upstairs, I think you already have a hunch about what they were potentially used for. And the silvery circle arrangement here and those little runes are pretty clearly as some kind of summoning circle that and Luca, you're quite certain that this place must have once housed a summoned creature that was probably also bound to this particular area. Maybe not just this one room, but probably at least this level, or at the most this level. Um, but it's inactive now. The creature has long returned to whence it came. That's what it was most likely used for.
The runes on the upper level, did we determine they were like teleportation runes or something? Is that what you're talking about?
I believe that was your
Okay.
takeaway. Yeah.
Yes, indeed, a portal, but not a portal between spaces on this plane. Portal to extraplanar places. One that I think it would be wise for us not to trifle with,
Unless Luca, I don't know if Luca rolled well enough to determine like where it's connected to or what might have been summoned.
Yeah, I think that's you to be. Let me reveal that because you're quite confident of your findings here. Um, that it must have summoned a creature from hell, so some kind of devil.
Oh, a devil. Well, actually, that might prove quite useful. You see, we could, if a devil was here long ago, then perhaps they might have some information that we might be able to barter for.
Didn't we try that before? Already.
Yes, and it turned out quite well, I think.
I still feel moist after seeing that fly thing.
Seems there's been quite a bit of devil binding in this place, actually. It's rather fascinating. I
Well,
wonder if Belcor was involved in such things as well.
Well,
Well,
she
the-
wasn't
the
even
one-
witch.
the one we met was fairly small and not really dangerous. I don't mind that, but like any more important devils, I wouldn't feel comfortable dealing with.
Well, devils are only dangerous if you cross them or break their laws, as long as you follow standard protocols, rules of engagement, and such. They're actually quite reasonable, in a sense.
Well,
No such
they're
thing as
reasonable.
what's dangerous. If, you must treat every devil as if it is loaded.
Well, yes, one must handle devils responsibly, of course.
This is how people lose their souls, after all.
I mean, they're only reasonable as long as they don't overthrow your monarchy and
Yeah.
I can think of no instances where
hellocracy.
such a thing has happened.
Well, Ottardo mentions that specifically because he is from Cheliax.
Uh-huh.
Oh, is he? I hadn't realized that. Well, Ottardo, perhaps sometime when we're not in the middle of a dank, terrible dungeon, I should like to hear more of your experiences in Cheliax. It's very
Sure.
possible that that place is my homeland as well.
Oh, well, I guess we'll make time for that when there's less pressing matters.
Perhaps later.
Yeah, okay.
For now, let us move on.
Okay, and let's see what lies beyond.
Right, there's another door that you boldly open, and you find a change in scenery a little bit. There's still like the tiled floor and the worked walls, clearly masonry, and everything is still very much in the same style as the previous rooms, but it starts to open up into a more natural looking cave. And there's a couple of sounds that are reaching your ears. There's the dripping and sloshing sound of water that is echoing through this cavernous chamber. But there's also the sounds of several people like mumbling. There's just and it's again it's echoing in here, so it's kind of like bouncing from wall to wall. You're having a hard time figuring out where exactly it's coming from, and you just hear this like, and clearly it's several voices. The air that is rushing out from this chamber is cold and damp. It's somewhat refreshing because you just came out of the ghoul meat locker essentially. But still, it's clammy and uncomfortable. Uh, if you take another step in, you'll see there's a sizable pond to the east and a lazy rivulet of overflow that trickles to the north down a sloping tunnel. And to the west, there is a like about 5 foot wide opening that gapes. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. It's not just to the west. There is an opening to the west that's roughly 5 foot wide, but that gaping opening is actually in the ceiling above the pool.
Was there a light in this place before we opened the door?
I don't think so. It was dark.
Okay, so he's going to turn around and say that I guess whatever is in there knows we're here. And he will move forward.
And okay, as you move forward, you take a couple more steps in, your footfalls echoing through the cavernous chamber, and um, those sort of like cacophonous voices that chatter starts to raise in volume. It gets a little bit more hectic, and you hear a weird sound. It's like a flopping sound, as if somebody was like repeatedly dropping um, a big sack of flour or something. Like it just goes like flop, 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 and all the while you hear that sound, and you look to the north as you're starting to zero in on where that sound is coming from, and you see a creature emerge from that tunnel where the water is disappearing, and it is a horrific amalgamation of flesh and sorry, let me hear and mouths
Oh,
and eyes and tongues, and it looks like a tumor made creature, completely amorphous in its size, and it moves forward by like just repeatedly convulsing and rolling over itself, all the while all of these mouths are just gibbering and yammering in undiscernible languages, and it has clearly taken notice of your passing and is shambling forward. So let's roll for initiative. And let's see what you got.
would probably a +1 from Birke scouting.
Yes. Yes.
And I have a 14 for all that's worth.
Excellent. Okay, I'll update your. Well, it doesn't really make a difference.
Doesn't make much difference, I don't think.
So, but Birker actually is the first one to act.
Does she have a view on the creature from there?
She probably, yeah, I think she has line of sight. I mean, she can see that there's some horrific amorphous mass starting to,
Yeah.
move out of that tunnel.
Okay. She will start by. Oh, he hasn't filled his 4th class feat slot, but I guess we'll come to that later. He will designate that thing as his hunted prey for 1
Mhm.
action, and he will get a recall knowledge attempt out of that.
All right. She can roll occultism.
Yep. And tick, that is the hunted prey, and there.
Let me see the result of anyone. All right. Yeah. She has heard of these things. Unfortunately, there is actually very little known about them. They are called, quite fittingly, is it gibbering or is it gibbering? I think it's gibbering.
Gibbering.
Yeah, they're called gibbering mouthers. Um, it's really unclear where, how, and why they exist. But they are ravenous aberrations, always seeking their next meals, ever eating, never sated. They do appear to have a nominal intelligence, but they they maybe they're insane. It's hard to tell. They have no interest in communicating in any clear way with um, other creatures. It seems like so. That's what she has heard about these things. In terms of usable information regarding their stats, she knows that their gibbering is actually mind bending. Hearing a gibbering mouther like erupt into its full cacophony can cause people to go confused. Um, they also are prone to spit acid, and they have a particular proficiency to spit it into people's eyes.
Ooh.
They're just lovely creatures. And their preferred way of hunting is to completely engulf their victim and then start to essentially dissolve their bodies and chew on them at the same time as they incorporate them into their fleshy mass. So yeah, she loves these things.
Wow. Okay. I think Birke is Birke is going to she likes this position. She's going to stay here and use her remaining 2 actions to ready an attack for when this creature comes into reach.
Okay.
If it does that.
Yep, that was action 2 and 3. Then okay, so the first thing that happens is that as Birker was suspecting, it starts howling and hooting and just mumbling and shouting and yelling and making all sorts of sounds with all of its mouths. Everyone who can hear it, which I believe should be all 4 of you, needs to make this will save, please.
Okay.
Oh, I wish I was still deafened.
Yeah.
I doubt it applies, but Simon, did you say that the Staff of Necromancy gives me some sort of bonus on some saves?
I'm sure that it would factor that in already on the shield because I think they are.
Let's just
Oh,
look
it's,
it up.
it's a bonus to identify, but not to saves.
Oh, to identify. Okay.
Identify necromancy magic.
All right. Never mind then.
Is this thing related to sleep?
Oh,
This is not related to sleep. It is an incapacitation effect, but it's not related to sleep. It's emotion and enchantment. That makes a difference. Okay, so I see Ottardo, Soma, Lucca, Birke. Okay, so Ottardo, you are the only one who failed here. So you are confused.
Ah,
Okay, so that was just a free action. It just starts gibbering. And then uh, and then it starts like it's a really strange effect. So the that whole pile of flesh sits on the gravelly, sandy edge of that little rivulet, and then from its body there's this dark wave almost that starts to move out slowly from it in like a concentric circle. And as you watch it move towards you, you notice that it seems like the stone and earth is starting to grow soft and muddy and like really treacherous in that sense. So it's going to use its ground manipulation ability. Um, Yeah. And as it moves, so it doesn't spread far from it, it's just an intermediate surrounding, but as it moves forward, it kind of trails uh that mud behind it. So that was 2 actions, and then oh, I shouldn't move it actually. Oh, sorry. And then as its 3rd action, it is just going to spit some acid at Ottardo, who's right in front. Oof, but it critically misses, apparently being somewhat surprised to have visitors. Soma.
Uh, so, well, Soma will immediately start. Yeah, everyone. With I don't think Soma actually can see this creature, so I will try to attack it. So she will just yell like, "Lucca, I think we're gonna need fire here." and I will just stop casting shield. Just in case. This would be for now.
All right, Lucca.
Yeah, I imagine Lucca was like lingering in the room there, still kind of looking at the circle and mumbling a little to himself when he hears this horrible cacophony and Souma calling to him. So he's like,
Oh, something's happening. Oh, what is it? I see no danger. I
don't know
see
what
no
hap-
danger.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening, but Sir Ottardo got all cross-eyed and then something spit at him.
I certainly hear things, but I see them not. This is unfortunate. Why are you all crowded into this stairwell? Let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yes, I can just make it. Everyone, clear out, clear out. Ottardo, what is wrong with you?
Lucca makes his way all the way to the bottom of the stairs so he can finally stand somewhere to address Ottardo, and then he sees this thing around the corner.
He's like, oh, how horrid. Ottardo, are you okay? What is wrong with you?
Can I tell what's up with him? Do I understand he's like confused or?
I would say without a necessary check, you can tell that he seems to be confused. Yeah.
Now, I don't know exactly how this works. Is he under a magical effect right now, or does he just have like a status condition that there's no magic
Well, I would
component
say
to it?
if the traits of the original ability, I think, should also apply to his condition in that case. So it's because it's a magical source for his condition. If
Okay.
that makes it.
And he's confused, right? Confused. How bad is confused? You are flat-footed. You don't treat anyone as your ally, and you can't delay ready. Oh God, striker cast defensive. Okay. Realizing that Ottardo is like making crazy eyes at everyone around him, it's like, Ottardo, back to your senses! And he's going to take the staff of necromancy and like crack him in the middle of the forehead with it as he casts this. First time casting it.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. All right, let's see the counteract roll. And then
I did a little research on counteracting, so I think I get how it works. Let's see if
Okay.
I actually understand it.
All right.
That
That's a
looks
charge. So you're counteracting an affliction to seize the afflictions. If it's a spell, use the caster's DC. So I'm going to use the save DC of the ability here, which is 19. So you crit
that's a crit
succeed.
success.
You counteract the target if its counteract rank is 5 or less. What is a counteract rank?
I think its counteract rank is if it's a spell, it's equal to the level of the spell, if I remember correctly. And if it's
If
not, I
not,
think
it's
it's
like
equal.
yeah.
It's like half of the
You do the
creature's
same math.
level.
So okay. So it's a level 5 creature, so I'm gonna say that its counteract rank is 5 or less. So that's awesome. Yeah, you dispel the confused condition, I'm gonna say, that way. Great.
Yeah. So he like gives him a almost like the Gandalf smacking smacking who is it? Not Denethor. It's
Theoden.
Theoden, yeah, smacking the sense back into Theoden, and he just stands there and he's like, "Do something, man!" And he's done.
Nice. And then it's his turn.
And I guess that is just at the right time. Well, Ottardo comes back to his senses, remembers the creature spittled at him,
Mm-hmm.
and remembers he was about to start smacking everyone around, which is not good. So he is going to raise his shield first. And then he Is he going to stride over? He should probably stride. He will get closer
Mm-hmm.
to the creature. Oops! Oh, I had Birke following.
Oh yeah, I shouldn't make that so that
Yeah.
doesn't happen during combat.
So he strode. He raised his shield, and I guess he will try to smack this thing with his hammer
All right, let's see it.
and miss.
And you miss. Okay, even though like it's a fairly slow moving mass comparatively, but still, it's just so horrific to behold that it causes you to be a little off balance here. Birka.
Birke will follow after Ottardo.
Mm-hmm.
Clyde. Okay. And well, she will follow suit. There's a pretty big target there,
Mm-hmm.
and she's going to try and slice into it and miss, and she will attempt that again.
There's a hit. All right, so she strikes it with her gazarm and slices it open for 9 points of damage. Yeah, and I mean that's it's literally a pile of flesh. So as she cuts it open, there is blood and viscera, but it's just kind of amorphous. But it does seem to cause a good amount of damage. And then it's its turn, and it is gonna do what Birka was afraid it would do. It just moves forward, just slowly, and all the time gibbering, I should say, which also causes Ottardo to make another will save because you never actually succeeded on your save, so you're not immune yet.
Okay.
Okay, but you're immune. You succeed. And then it moves onward as its first action. So it can stride up to double its speed, but it doesn't need to do that. And move through the spaces of any creatures. Any creature of the monster's size or smaller, which you are, can attempt a reflex save. So you can do this reflex save.
It doesn't have to succeed at tumble through.
No. Let's do this one at a time. So you do the reflex save first.
Okay. For Ottardo. Yeah.
That's a fail. Right. So it moves through your square, which causes you to avoid being engulfed. Okay. Okay. A creature that fails its save is pulled into the monster's body. It is grabbed and slowed 1, and it has to hold its breath or start suffocating.
Oh.
You take this amount of damage right now, and you will eventually again as it starts to digest you, essentially. You can get free by escaping, so I'll put that in the chat. And you can attack the monster engulfing it, but only with unarmed attacks or with weapons of light bulk or less. The engulfing creature is now off guard again. Oh no, the engulfing creature is off guard against that attack. Okay. And that's all I'm going to tell you about this for now. So that was just a single action, which means it can lash out with some of its mouths at Birke and try to bite her, but I'm sure Engulf has the attack trait. Nope, it doesn't. So that's still just a regular bite. Hits 16 points of damage, and as its third action, it grabs. It like basically a couple of its mouth lash out at Birke and then just start to lock, and grab her. So that's its third action, and now we are done with it, and Soma's turn.
Okay. Then we will have to see what's happening. So move here. I will see it. Oh my god, what is this? And I will switch from Inspire Defense to Inspire Courage. And I believe this. Yeah, I think this will be it. I will also cast a shield on myself. There's one action in it.
Okay.
And
So that's your turn.
yeah, that's my.
Okay, Lucca.
Yeah, we'll be able to attack next.
Do
You see
we
it?
know? I know this thing is insane and it's like got all these different voices. Does Birke know? And if so, would she have shared whether the thing can understand us?
I think what she shared is like nobody's ever been able to make meaningful contact with one of these creatures either direction.
Okay. Huh. Um. Damn. This is nasty. We're getting Inspire Courage. Does Inspire Courage help with checks, like ability checks, skill checks?
It
Or is it-
saves against fear effects. It gives status bonus to attacks and damage.
It's attack and damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
The checks go for Inspire Competence, and yeah, I didn't use it.
Okay. I think Diabolic Edict might be useful then, because it gives him a bonus on status or on skill checks. I don't know if it's a saving throw or a skill check to get out of this thing, but regardless, Lucca is going to say, Ottardo, don't just stand there while it digests you. Free yourself. And we have tales of Cheliax to tell together. Gonna give him a +1 to attack rolls and skill checks related to freeing himself from that abomination. -1 if he refuses to do that for some reason. And then I get the feeling this thing isn't very dexterous. We're just going to drop a flaming sphere on it.
Ottardo is in that same space.
Yes, but well, the wording of the spell. Each creature in the square. Well, maybe not. Maybe we don't do that this time. I thought it was only one creature, but it's every creature in the square. That's interesting. Then we'll just set it ablaze. The more.
Hold on, because I'll say that. I mean, the whole point of this ability is that Ottardo is now covered head to toe by this mass. He's like engulfed by it.
Okay.
So I don't see how Ottardo could take damage from the sphere if it was gonna appear in the square right now.
Does he have like cover from effects which originate outside of?
That's what I would rule. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It doesn't explicitly say that, but he's essentially swallowed whole. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you'll allow it, then I'll do it. Why
Yep.
not? DC 20 reflex save.
All right. Let's see that. Okay. Ooh, crit fail.
The thing still has a +12.
Yep. But crit fail.
All right, that's gonna be 22. Hold on, actually 20. This should have another 2 points on there, so 26 points of fire damage.
Okay, yeah, it burns and it screams out of all of its mouths as the flaming sphere rolls over it. Getting
Oh,
busy in that square.
Yeah.
the flaming sphere has a martial Zara. It's benefiting from Ottardo. Okay, yeah.
Does that conclude your turn?
Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
All right, Ottardo.
Well, he will do as instructed and attempt to break free.
Okay,
Uh,
try to escape. Ye-
okay. Which he
Which one?
will use with the athletics.
Okay, let's see that roll. You got the DC right here. And you hit it on the dot. 22 is the DC.
Would that include like a step to get out of the square of the creature?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, so I can remove grabbed.
Yeah, creature that
And
gets free can immediately breathe and exits the swallowing monster's space. Yeah.
okay, and since he was slowed, he only has one action left, but the slowed goes away on this turn.
Correct.
Oof. He, mm, well, he did see it, kinda. Take a good whack at Birke, so he will raise his shield with his remaining act.
All right. Birka.
Birke is grabbed too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, does that preclude her from? So she's not engulfed. She's still free to make normal attacks.
Yeah, she is immobilized, but she can still attack. Yes.
Well, oh, well, I should start
Yeah.
by opening
Attacks
the
don't have to
bridge.
manipulate trade, right? Not necessarily.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Attacks don't necessarily have the manipulate trade, right?
Um, hmm.
I don't think we do.
I don't think so.
Strike. I think it only has the attack trait. That's all.
Yeah. Apparently, yeah, reloading would be manipulate, but not attacking. Okay, yeah, so she should be able to attack. Just as
Uh,
okay.
yeah. Well, she will do so.
All right, do
Let's
it.
check everything, all the buffs, and miss. Well, she is going to try again, miss again, and for her last action, she's going to make like one desperate attempt at breaking out.
Okay, but that's at a -10, right? Because
Yeah,
that has
yeah.
the attack. Yep. Okay. Fine.
Uh, is anything there? Okay, let's put. So the roll doesn't include the -10, but yeah, that's a fail.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Athletics DC is yeah.
Oh, the roll is 11.
Right, but it's a 21 in total. Oh, I see. Because of -10, that's not in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that's definitely fail, of course. Okay, so then it's the Mouther's turn, and it already has Birka grabbed, so I think it's only logical that it will try to engulf her. So it's gonna move into Birka's square, which means he needs to do a reflex save.
Oh boy. Um. Oof.
She fails.
Maybe here
Uh, is she hero pointing it?
Uh. I guess.
All right.
Wow.
Hey,
And that's even worse. All right, so she's slowed. She continues to be grabbed. And now she also has to hold her breath. And she's going to take this much piercing damage.
Ooh.
Um,
Uh. At this, Ottardo is going to react.
okay.
So he will grant her 6 points of resistance.
Okay.
So she only takes 6 points of damage there, and he will take an attack against the creature.
Okay, so basically it means as it starts to engulf Birke, Ottardo like tries to push it off of her, preventing some damage off of her, and now trying to actually even use the momentum to hurt it.
Just double check Diabolic Edict. It's only for one action, right?
Yeah. It's for one turn.
For one turn. So that expires at the character's.
Yep.
It has one. It lasts for one round. One
Yep,
round
Cheli-
is the duration.
It
So
says 0 rounds remaining, expires start of initiative 13.
technically, it hasn't been my turn again yet. So I think it should still be active.
It should be, yeah. It'll expire when Lucca's turn comes up.
Yeah.
Because then that means that Ottardo takes a penalty on this.
Okay? Because you're not actually doing perform the task. Okay.
Because
Why,
he's not following the edict anymore.
what was the edict?
It was to break free.
Oh yeah. That's true.
Okay.
What are you doing? You're putting yourself back in harm's way, fool.
No, wait a second. I mean, if it
I
refuses-
guess.
I think since you've completed the task, it should already be just gone.
Okay. Well, in that case, that roll becomes a 27 in case that changes things.
No, that's a hit. Either way.
Okay.
And it's not a crit either way. Okay, 11 points of bludgeoning damage. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, you strike it with your hammer, and it's very satisfying after this battle starting so uphill. Your hammer connects, and it just goes like flash, and you can see like the flesh burst open, gore popping out of that body, and you realize like bludgeoning. Its weakness is bludgeoning damage. It's definitely weak to it. All right. So that was because it engulfed. That was its first action. Now its second action is going to be to bite or snap at Ottardo with its jaws. Snap. Misses, and then it snaps again.
Oof.
Ooh.
For a cool 26 points of damage.
Well, Ottardo goes down.
All right, Ottardo goes down, falls into the water, but it doesn't have an action left to grab you, so I guess that's good news. Soma.
Uh, Inspire defense. And for my final trick, I will just have to try to persuade Ottardo that dying is only in his head. So I will cast Soothe at level 2 at him and see what happens next.
Nice. Oh well, it's a 10 and a 1, but still good. And okay, so Ottardo moved in the initiative just before the creature, and then got soothed by Soma. And I believe that's your turn. That's 3 actions, right?
Yes, that's
Okay,
it.
Lucca.
Lucca is going to delay. And I hope that gives Birke time to break free.
Okay. Birke.
Okay, Birke will attempt to break free.
All right, let's see that.
Let's see. Pum. Let me just double check what bonuses Hunted Prey gives.
Maybe just roll and we'll see if it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a success. She successfully breaks free.
Okay. Well, I guess she needs to take a step
Yep.
there.
And that removes the grab condition from the previous grab as well. So yeah, just the slowed, which is gonna.
Okay. Okay. Since she is slowed, she only has one action left.
Mhm.
Well, I guess she will attempt to strike at this thing.
All right, -5.
And I guess since Ottardo is back to consciousness, he is providing flanking.
Well, he would have dropped all of his stuff, so he's not armed.
If
But
if we said he keeps the shield, he does have the option
oh,
of shield bashing with it.
okay, yeah, let's say that. Okay, so we see a hit, and that's 11 points of slashing damage. Okay. The problem is that as her Gazarm connects and she like slices into the creature's skin, a horrible thing happens because the wound sort of sprouts teeth and just becomes a mouth and immediately starts to like lash out at her and tries to bite her hand, her leading hand holding onto the Gazarm. So it gets to make a strike against her. I love this thing. It's so cool. But it's a critical miss. Okay, then its turn comes up.
Wait,
I'll jump in
Oh,
as soon as.
right. And Ottardo should be up too, but you're
Yeah.
dead for some reason. You're marked as dead
Am
for
I
me.
dead?
Oh,
Yeah.
gods, he's dead! No.
You shouldn't.
Uh,
I actually noticed that the automation has more things. Like now it applies the dying and wounded
Yeah,
on its own.
I added those, but that apparently also means that you end up being shown as defeated in the.
Ah,
We'll have to keep track of that. All right, but it's Lucca first because he delayed.
yeah, Lucca immediately, as soon as he sees Birke pull herself out of there, he's going to draw the fire in.
And the Mouther fails, I believe, 17.
Miraculously fails again. I wish there was some way to easily repost this without actually casting it every time. 12 more points of fire damage from that.
Takes 10 and then another 2.
And then he is gonna hit it with all the fire he's got as he casts Produce Flame.
All right, toss it at him.
I should. Oh, we're not getting Inspire Courage, right? We're getting Confidence.
No, not yet.
27.
Ooh, that's a regular hit.
All right, for an additional 11. That's accurate.
All right, so yeah, you just throw fire on it from all sources you have available to you, and it continues to wail in pain and squeak high-pitched screeches as it burns.
When will you people realize that fire is the most effective weapon?
Ottardo.
as Ottardo comes back to, he will first lay hands on himself for some healing. Do I have the right character? Yep. Then he will reach for his warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it would be wise to stand up.
All right, that's 3.
Yep.
Okay, then it's the Mouther's turn, and it is kind of locked in combat with Birke still, so it's going to move forward, trying to engulf her. So that'll be another reflex save from Birke.
Rude.
Now she gets the bonus thing.
The bonus? Oh, from Inspired Defense. Yes.
That will be accounted.
Hopefully.
And that's a success. So if you succeed, 2 creatures succeeds, it can choose to be either pushed aside out of the monster's path or pushed in front of the monster to the end of its movement. Well, I guess that doesn't really apply here, so there's only really one square that you can reasonably end up in. So, yeah. All right. So and try to engulf her, but this time Birke sees it coming and nimbly squeezes past it and the flaming sphere and finds herself opposite of it. And it it doesn't turn around because it's just this amorphous mass. So what it does is it just continues to move forward. This time trying to engulf Lucca.
Oh no, I did not see that coming.
And that looks like a fail. So there's 3d8 of piercing for you as you become engulfed by the horrific aberration.
Oh no.
Uh,
Yep. Oh,
there
sorry. Actually,
is.
it has a third action left.
Just give me just 1 second, please. Uh,
Why am I
so the-
resistant?
That's because Inspired Defense. It gives you
Oh, thank you.
one resistance.
you.
well, first of all, Ottardo is going to use his reaction to grant Lucca resistance 6 to this damage.
Okay, so Lucca recovers 6.
That doesn't stack with
Yeah, I
Suma's
guess.
resistance, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Well,
Uh,
it should be the larger resistance.
Right. Okay.
And I'm trying to figure if Ottardo moving into the flaming sphere would be bad for him.
No, it won't.
No. It's
We've established that
fine.
before, yeah. That
Okay.
You can walk around it.
It will
Okay, well
only
then.
damage when it's sustained.
Okay. Well, in that case, Ottardo will make use of this to take 1 step and then target the creature with his warhammer. And miss.
Ah, too bad. I kind of like the visual of like Ottardo stepping through the flames. You know, first you just see his
Oh, yeah.
shape, and then he rises from the fire to swing at it, but he misses. All right, so the Mouther has 1/3 action left, which it uses to bite Soma real quick, or 9 points of damage, but that's more like a quick snap, and then it's your turn.
Okay. So, now that danger actually comes to her, Soma jerks back, although not enough to spend the move. Okay, I will continue doing the Inspire Defense. I've clicked it. Everyone still gets that. For my next action, I will try to provide to do battle medicine on Ottardo. So that would be treating wounds as an action.
Okay.
Wait, I'll need to check just in case. I'm correct. Medicine. Attempt to medicine check with MDC as treat wounds. So. What to do?
Pretty good.
All right. And there is a condition to be for the immunity, so you can pull that onto Ottardo so that we can keep track of that. And I would hope that it times out automatically after a day too.
Let's see. Yeah, 24 hours remaining.
All right.
And I think I will actually leave for safety.
Okay. And then Birke.
Birke has a bit of a hard time seeing where is this creature standing. Okay, he sees it. She will stride. Can she make it there? She can make it there. She will stride over there to flank the creature along
Okay.
with Ottardo while still maintaining a healthy distance from it.
Yeah, I mean, flanking is kind of a weird idea with this amorphous thing that has eyes everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't really make a difference.
Okay. All right. Well, she will swing and miss and swing and miss.
Again, all right, Lucca.
Being engulfed doesn't affect my spell casting. Does it
Just the
affect
grab
manipulate?
thing. So your manipulate action, you would have to do a flat check.
Okay. I don't think sustain a spell is an issue though. It's just a concentrate, which I think I can do.
Okay.
So first thing he does is, as he's engulfed by this thing, he's just like calls the fire over to also enter the square and try to
Yeah, nice. All right, let's
burn it
see
off
it.
of him.
Reflex save. Come on, you thing.
Yeah,
26.
passed this time, so half of. Hang on.
Is it half or is it nothing?
Oh, I think you're right. It's nothing. Yeah, no damage. So that's bad. Produce flame does have somatic.
Yeah, and
What does he
somatic
have?
against the manipulate trait. Yeah.
Okay. This has verbal somatic. Uh, it's what's a DC 5 flat check?
Yep.
Okay, hell, I'm gonna do this just because this would be cool.
All right.
So I'm gonna try flat check. Oh my god, of course. Do I lose the spell if it's, or is it
It's
just not complete?
I'm gonna say it's a d20 roll, so you could do your hero point on it.
Yeah, I might as well. Okay, well that's better.
That is better. Okay.
All right. It has to make another reflex save.
Oh yeah. I thought it was
Yeah.
the produce flame. Okay. What are we getting ourselves into? Yo,
That
crit fail.
is a critical failure. Oh my god. Yes.
What's happening?
Oh god. This is amazing. I love it.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Roll the damage real quick, and then we'll talk about details.
So it's actually 28 points of damage.
Okay. So that will finish it off, and I'll let you tell that scene. Paint that scene.
Okay. Oh my god. So yeah, so the flaming sphere comes rolling over. I guess this thing is blobby enough that it can just like slop out of the way a little bit. I imagine that Lucca is like, since this thing is digesting him and chewing on him, it's actually like shredding up his outfit, his clothes. They're getting like torn to pieces, big holes being eaten in them. And he's actually having a hard time keeping himself together, like his bones are getting mixed up in the mass of this thing. And he's like, "Oh, this is it. True death is coming for me." And then something about the fire like burning up there. Maybe his skull like pokes out of the mass for a second and he just sees the flames of the sphere burning above him. And something about that makes the dark sockets of his eyes suddenly flare with light, and all of the bones of his body just spontaneously burst upward, punching through this thing, just perforating it with holes as they shower up, hit the ceiling of this cave, and then come clattering back down and leave the thing as like a blasted mass of flesh and eyes and tentacles. as all the bones just rain down around it, and then slowly begin to draw themselves back together and reassemble.
Wonderful. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Exactly the kind of justification that I was talking about gaining access to that spell. Wonderful. And you'll get your hero point back for that. That's just too perfect. All right. So, yeah, the mouther, I'll move it over here so we get a little bit more of, and I think we can dismiss this fear. All right. You're no longer grabbed. You're no longer slowed after a few moments. And okay, yeah. So finally, that gibbering stops. And there's just the fact that your friend just exploded.
Mhm.
That might need some clarification.
Wait a second. I just got the right thing. Going to Souma immediately rushes towards him, pulling out things, and will try to knit him back together.
All right, yeah.
Is he literally in a pile of bones right now?
I imagine that he falls in a pile of bones, and then you just see like bit by bit some of the bones begin to draw themselves back in, like
Yeah,
you know,
shit.
little vertebrae attaching together, arms reconnecting. There's still a few bones that are like damaged and stuck in the mass though, and they're like wiggling around in there, but they're not coming free.
I remember he showed me just where this one should have been. No, not here. Wait, I think this is a no. This is the missing one. Not right. And like
I'm not up. No, Suma, I don't think that one goes there. It feels wrong. It feels off.
Just wait. I think there's extra bones here. I mean, did you spill your
Yeah.
bag?
Yeah, take some from here's the bag. Here, try this one. Should be a better fit.
Well, actually, now you're probably immune for at least for an hour to my attempts to stitch back flesh onto you. So
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
yeah. But I mean, listen. Look on the bright side, okay? For a brief moment, you at least felt what it feels to have a meat around you again.
Can I give my hero point to Suma for that?
Yeah, Soma can have one. That's perfect. Yes.
I'll take it on.
So, Luca's like, he's like sorting through what's left of the gibbering mouth there, like trying to pick his bones out. He stops as she says that.
Yes, that's not quite how I remember it.
And he keeps going.
Take the flesh off the bone. Yeah.
It's like
No.
picking the little bits off. Ugh.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's how all skeletons inside of us feel like.
Yes, it was rather claustrophobic. I imagine that deep down every skeleton just yearns to burst free.
That would explain a lot of things, actually.
All right. That's 60 XP for each one.
Yay.
And yeah, finally this cave falls quiet. Just a little bit of the trickling sound of the water, and no more of this gibbering nonsense.
So while Soma was doing that, Ottardo would have been refocusing, and I think Birke would take a look around at this cave.
Okay. Yeah, sure. She can look around, and she'll scout ahead a little bit. If she goes to the west, she'll learn that the tunnel goes on for quite some time. I'm not sure how far she would stray from the group as the rest is kind of recuperating here in this cave. So I guess she would report back like, yeah, that's a tunnel. It goes on for quite some time. And then she'd come back and explore the north a little bit because to the north, where the water runs down, there's a gentle slope that it's flowing down, and it goes around the corner and then appears to keep going and keep going further down, and yeah, deeper into the depths. But it's a fairly gentle slope, so you could probably walk it down.
I think while we're doing this, we'll also refocus for a few minutes.
Oh yeah, definitely refocus. It's been a while since I used that.
I think we can take like maybe let's say 1 hour, and this way we get everyone back up to full.
Okay,
Oh.
that's fine.
Well, I would have given Souma another shot at healing me, but never mind. That's all right. Just a little void energy to soothe the old bones. Should have just gone back to the negative energy well. Well, perhaps better not to tempt fate. I must warn you. While I know that after such a mighty and impressive display of power, you all must consider me a near invincible being of godlike power. That I am rather expending my magical capabilities quite quickly between the fight with that priestess and now this thing. I will be of little use besides perpetually summoning deadly fires to scorch things from a distance soon. Soon I will be reduced to nothing more but hurling motes of deadly flame at people from afar. You will have no additional support beyond that. Just lethal death, the least of my powers.
Well,
I mean, I can still summon a dog if you want, but I don't think that will help much in this case. But I am game to continue on for a bit longer.
I guess we can try just to push on just a little bit, and we'll see if we can take it or not.
Yes. Let us continue on until we truly find ourselves in dire straits.
As usual.
Is there nothing in this cave? Is there nothing else here?
Yeah, no, there appears to be very little of interest. You do spot, I mean, I will give that to Birke since she was kind of spending her time scouting around. There is quite a few coins in the pool, most of them sort of under that hole in the ceiling. A total of 190 copper and 64 silver pieces, if you care to collect all of them.
Well, we did say we sit here for an hour, didn't we? So.
Right.
Okay, I'll add those to the stash.
I imagine that's the well that we saw above. Oh, and I even heard many voices coming from the well before. That would explain this creature would explain it.
Indeed. Okay,
There
Lucca
is
wandering off.
Yeah.
wait for me.
There's a way over here.
I think Birke explored a little of that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, a little bit. And she said like, oh, this is going to continue for quite some time. I'll better get back to the group.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
When you say quite some time, do you mean like
invisible
2 minutes,
wall?
maybe?
No,
got it.
No, not quite yet. It's just that I thought it wouldn't make sense for Birke to walk all the way into the desert. So you're welcome to explore this now, of course.
I'm most curious what was hidden back here. That gibbering mouther. I mean, we saw the cultists worshipping a dead one before. Now we find a live one.
Yes. And let me maybe, or actually, you can just move through this on your own. So yes, you're moving through this. It is a tunnel that looks like it was. I mean, it's not natural in the sense that it's not like there's a crack that appeared just because of tectonics or, earth movements or anything like this. This was clearly dug, but it's almost perfectly tube shaped. So it kind of feels like some giant, oversized warren of some kind. Um, Somebody mentioned having knowledge nature. I believe Lucca. If you
I
wanna,
do.
yeah, if you wanna try that. Anyone else who's got that skill?
I have.
Birke, apparently.
Makes sense, being a ranger.
Well, she was complaining about hating nature.
Well, but
Yeah.
she does like to study it.
Yeah, but Birke doesn't really have an eye for that. Lucca, you, however, and maybe it's your intimate knowledge of worms and such, but get you do get the sense that this, I mean, if it wasn't for the sheer size, this could almost be dug by a giant worm of some kind.
Oh
You
man,
like,
where possibly we could see one of those.
Hmm.
yes, I wonder.
Quite unlikely. I mean, who's ever heard of a worm that size?
Yeah.
So, and as you move forward, you can keep moving. And around the next corner, I would ask you to stop for a second there because there's a stretch of the wall here all of a sudden, a smooth section of wall. So this whole time it was this like dug natural looking tunnel shape, and then all of a sudden as you turn the corner, there's a chunk of masonry again, like actual brick wall.
Okay. Oh, okay, I see. Hmm.
And the tunnel also continues further west, as you can see.
Mhm.
I guess that probably indicates that that's where the walls of the vault meet this place. Birke will give it a look over.
All right, yeah, sure.
Um,
Sure looks it over.
Simon, I mean, I can see it on the map, but I don't know if Luca can like keep his orientation well enough to understand this. Is there
You
some
don't,
sort of check I should make, or?
you're untrained in survival, right? Is
Um, yes, I'm untrained in survival.
so I would say that that means you only have underdeveloped orientate sense of orientation. But I still would say like you have. I mean, you would know that it's quite likely that behind this wall is still the vaults, right? You haven't gone
Right.
that far, so that's something you would know. But you would be able to pinpoint it further. But
Okay.
you do. It would be still the same level, far on the western side of this level, and I'll leave it to you to draw your conclusions.
Okay. I'll make a roll for it, and we'll just see
Okay.
where it
Yeah,
lands.
yeah, like a wisdom check or something.
I was just rolling survival untrained, which is
Yeah,
the same.
that is a wisdom check. Yep, yep, yep.
Uh, okay. All right. Luca like ponders for a second as Burka's going over the wall, and you see him like reach up, scratch his bony chin, and he says, "Uh, hold a moment. I may have a reckoning of what lies on the other side there. We've traveled a bit to the." Kind of spins around for a second. West, I think, and south before that. Yes, I suppose that would make sense. Uh, there were chambers which the rest of you were not privy to, but which my ghoulish friend led me to. I I believe that his abode may lie on the other side of that wall. Quite a comfy space, filled with sofas and divans, and even a dried up fountain with, I think, a little statue of the lighthouse in the midst of it, if I remember correctly. Interesting place. I'd like to show it to you, but I do fear that the friend I made might find himself less uh, amicable to your kind than myself.
Well,
And even me, he seemed to be growing a savor for.
well, I guess we should leave him be then.
Yeah, Birke would shrug and say, well, the only way through this wall is if we break it down.
Which I
Well,
guess
we
we
can
probably will not do.
we can leave it be, or we can make a grand entrance if you wish. But we can always get there by more conventional means. And it seems
Alright,
you're moving on. Oh, very well.
if you move on, you'll start. So the tunnel goes on for a little further, further than what's depicted here, and I think it starts to branch. Oh, is it? Sorry. Yeah, and depending on how far you're willing to go, I mean, how it is going to continue for quite some time. We're talking.
I think we wouldn't give it more than like 5 minutes.
More than 5 minutes. Okay, so if you walk for 5 minutes, it'll just keep going vaguely south, maybe southeast, for those 5 minutes, and you'll see that it'll still continue on and on for quite some time, and there are no further branching passages.
I have, I have a vague feeling that we are kind of moving somewhat away from the lighthouse, so this probably was the the burrow which that thing made when it came here. Huh? So if
The mouther, you mean?
no, this tunnel is a bit quite big for a mouther. I mean, well, the giant worm, maybe something like. Oh,
Yes, it does seem like a wormhole, and we have seen the remains of a worm capable of
Oh,
such a
right.
tremendous act.
Yes.
A wise deduction, Souma.
I know.
Perhaps it would serve us better to focus our efforts more on the vault. I am curious how far these tunnels go. Could they reach all the way to Otari?
Oh, they also could reach into Darklands, and that's not somewhere where I want to be.
True. I wonder what such a beast was doing here on Kortos to begin with. Island is often considered the hub of all civilization. It's hard to imagine such a titanic monstrosity just worming its way beneath the soil.
All right. So you make your way back to the cave, and from here, right back into the library halls. And then what?
Well, we have some corpses to dispose of, I guess.
Okay, so what do you intend to do?
Well, we have torches, and I guess
Fire? I mean, that's not much of a problem for me. I can just fire.
Uh,
Sure. Right. That seems to be a little bit of a choking hazard here. If you basically set this whole room ablaze. That will create quite a lot of smoke. Yeah, but you're welcome
Can
to try.
Lucca choke?
Lucca can't. We can.
So I do not believe that the smoke will bother me much.
Because there's
Turn
like
it down.
there's wooden desks already there for for kindling and
Yes, well dried by the centuries, I think.
If we could try to make somewhat
cut them down into smaller logs.
Make some kindling out of it.
I meant to drag the kindling into the cave, where it would be marginally fresher air. It is very long, and there would be a place for smoke to go, and then put the pyre in the cave, and then drop the corpses into the pyre as it burns.
Well, that seems a bit complicated, but I suppose it's the proper way to do things. If you're
That-
observing fire safety rules and such.
That's how we do it in Birke. Although such funeral is probably more than these things deserve. No offense, Lucca.
Oh, none taken, none taken. They are quite vile.
All right, so you're creating essentially a pyre in that cave, and then moving all of the bodies over there. Is that right?
If everyone agrees, then also.
Okay. I'd say that's gonna take a couple of hours. And I will ask. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna ask all of you to make a fortitude save.
Okay.
Oh, did you get the impression I was helping to move things? I'm just
I
waiting
think
for the
you're prob-
burning part.
I think
You
your
don't have
prompt
to
is
make that.
working.
So let me see.
Why won't it let me make that roll?
Oh, maybe there's a weird typo in there again. I don't know. Can anybody make that roll? Can anyone make that?
No, it doesn't work.
Let's see if you can make this one then. Hold on.
Okay, this one works.
Yeah.
Oh yes, there we
No.
are.
I'm gonna hero point that. I have an extra one.
Yes. Okay, let me see.
That is exactly accurate for Lucca's contributions.
Lucca crit fails to save. Birke succeeds. Soma crit fails twice. If I
Wow.
see that correctly. And Ottardo succeeds. All right, yeah. I mean, I think there's, as you handle the bodies and you move them into the cave, I think there's one instance where like they're kind of weird to maneuver, right? Because they're full-size bodies. So at some point, I think there's one moment when you like, Soma, you try to adjust your grip, and you kind of turn it over, and turn your head, and you just get hit in the face with a dangling limb of one of the bodies, and it's just an open, festering wound that's just full of those mycelia that hits you straight in the face, and you go, ah, you pull these little bits and pieces out of your mouth, and yeah, you feel a little squeamish afterwards, but nothing too bad yet. All right, so yeah, you move all the bodies over there. You set them on fire. Of course, there's a whole lot of smoke that starts to fill that cave, but there is that natural chimney, the well essentially that goes up to the upper levels. So that's not going to bother anyone, right? This is definitely a good place to do this, and this level is, even though there's a lingering smell of burning flesh in the immediate surrounding here, but the rest of the level is unaffected by this. And you just let it burn. Are you gonna stand by until it's all done, or are you just gonna like set it on fire and then watch it, make sure that it's properly flaming, and then you leave?
Yeah, I think, yeah, we'll just set it up
Okay.
and
So I would say by late afternoon, you are content with your work and are ready to do other things. So let me get rid of all these bodies here for you. There you go. And you are ready for other ventures.
Yeah.
Well, we must consider the possibility that there are more of these Malthers around. By
well,
far the most frightening thing we faced on this level.
yeah. Well, now that we know what they're capable of, I think we can always, close the door and take a good
Ah,
day's
yes.
rest.
We all know. We all know what to expect now. Nothing can surprise us. Open the door.
Okay,
Hey,
hold
Ben.
on. I need to take a note here real quick. Okay, I think that's good. And all right, so where were you? You were over here. Okay, so you open the door, and there is a short passage. And if you take a couple of bold steps into it, Ottardo, you'll see that it'll turn towards the south, and there is a staircase leading into darkness.
Okay. Uh, Stairs down.
Well, I believe that leaves only one or two unexplored, well, passages.
Yeah. I think.
On this level, at least. Let me just make sure that our ghoulish friend is not lingering around any corners here.
Yeah, you always turn around every corner expecting to see him, but no, maybe he still has plenty of supplies.
We have not encountered those glowing ghostly words, but I do know that they went around this corner here. Do you suspect they might have continued down the stairs even further?
Possible? Unless we missed some other secret passage.
I suppose that's true. We could have missed a way.
Ooh, more doors.
Mhm.
Indeed, there's a door. You're standing right in front of one, and then there's a long hallway. And if your light reaches that far, you see that there's also one doorway at the end of it.
Shall we?
Okay. Why can't I see any? Oh, I see why. Okay. Yeah, try the door.
And it is locked.
Indeed, it is.
And the other one? Oh, there is no another one. Well, okay. Let's see what we can do about this one.
Oh, you want to, oh, okay. Hold on. There's a prompt for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nice. You have success. That's the first one.
Uh-huh. This lock also has security pins in it.
You make no progress with this one.
Some counter rotation and
Again,
no, it's
no progress.
yeah, sorry, I fell in the false set. I'll try it again. There we
Two
go.
success. Yeah, maybe some.
Yeah,
How long is
thirds.
each check?
I don't know.
Does it say? Oh, it's just 2 actions. Okay.
So it's okay. It's pretty fast then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 2 successes, another failure.
Yeah, and no, this looks pretty complicated. Ah, shit.
Oh, you break your tools.
Oh,
No, this.
So crit fire, you break your tools. Fixing them requires using crafting to repair, or else swapping in replacement pigs. Yep.
Yeah, well, you basically you see Soma looks like squints at the lock, so sits beside it, starts to fiddle with it, like mumbling to herself as like something clicks and whirls in the mechanism, and then you hear just like a snap and like. So, okay, Ottardo, do you still have this that thing that you do? Yeah, with repairing your shield, I kind of need it. And
Sure.
and Soma will just show him completely dismantled lock picking set. Yeah, the springs on this are too tight. They too for my lock picks. What?
I can do that, but probably it would be best to move away
Yes.
from here because of the noise. So
But let's see the other doors maybe, and then we'll come back to this one later.
Right, there is one on the right that I forgot to mention. That's true. You can open that up, and you find an unfinished section of the library. The walls are only partially completed. You can see the telltale marks of chisels and picks everywhere. There's some discarded stoneworking tools. If you take a step in, it like turns around the corner a little bit, and there's stoneworking tools just lying everywhere as if somebody stopped working on this a long time ago and never picked it back up.
mhm.
magic secrets.
Indeed. Among all of these mining tools, most of which are mundane, there is one that has weathered the passage of time remarkably well, and it registers when Lucca tries to sense magic, and you quickly identify it as a +1 striking pick.
Oh. It appears this pick has been ensorcelled.
Ooh, striking.
It is
Well, this is a
yes,
treasure.
runes of enhancement and of striking.
Is that like 2? No, that's a basic one-handed pick, right?
Yes, one-handed. But it has the fatal D10 trait.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, but other than that, this room really just seems to be a construction site from a long time ago.
Is anyone interested in the?
Well,
Is Soma interested in the pick rather?
I mean, I can carry it, but I will get encumbered with it. But we definitely should do that because that way we'll just like scrape off the striking rune and apply it to your hammer.
Oh, I had been thinking that I might quite fancy it upon the staff, but if you insist.
Oh, you can have it if you want.
No, 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 no. By all means, you
Yeah.
tend to do more striking than I do. So.
Yes, Mr. Lucca, like in what scenario you're going to go to in the front line and striking things with your staff?
Well, as we just witnessed, sometimes the foe comes to me.
I mean, Birke could probably use a secondary damage type, because she only has slashing damage.
Oh,
Yep.
yes, it would serve her quite well as well. Should we leave it in Birke's possession for the time being?
Yes. So, although we will probably have to leave one of those books.
Um,
And she can still carry it. Just that she's slightly encumbered.
what does encumbered do actually?
That is a good question. Does it
Oh.
show her?
How have I become encumbered? How did I go from 3 bulk to 5?
Oh, you're clumsy 1 and take a 10-foot penalty to all your speeds. Okay, the speed penalty is pretty hefty.
I have
Dun,
2.
dun,
I think I
dun,
gave
dun,
myself 2
dun,
books, perhaps. Oh, only 1 set of valuable books. Oh, I have oh yes, 1 too many valuable books. There we go.
But Birke doesn't actually. Oh, that's because she's technically not wearing her container, maybe? Oh, okay,
yeah, I'm
then.
trying to see. It didn't apply
Yeah,
that automatically. Maybe if I'll just try increasing that. No, no. Yeah, nothing changed.
did
So I
she have
guess
any?
it's maybe there's just no automation yet for that.
But it seemed
Actually.
like Lucca got the encumbrance applied automatically.
No, it didn't. I just noticed I was over.
Oh, I see.
Well, if
Okay.
if you put things into your backpack, some of them don't count to your encumbrance.
Okay. Oh, does
Oh,
the back have
uh,
your?
Yeah,
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 also
that's true.
4 bulk, and the first 2 don't count against your bulk limits. So once
well,
again, the automation is smarter than us.
Well, let me put those valuable books in my backpack then.
Yes.
That's
How
barely
heavy
so.
is?
The backpack itself, you mean, is
Oh no, not that. Sorry, don't mind me. Continue. We ought to continue.
okay.
and
Yeah. And I'm gonna have to take a second, real quick.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, got it. Okay, so what did you do? Oh, you opened the door. Okay. This room. So far on this level, you wouldn't say that it's been warm, but this room is blisteringly hot. But you can't quite tell where that heat is coming from, though. There's a wooden barrel. And you can see, I mean, on the map it looks closed, but you can see that it's open and it contains like a few iron scoops. And there's also a metal bin with a hatch-like lid that uh, is also not the reason for this heat, so it's really weird.
Are we talking like soon to get into exhaustion heat or?
No, not that hot. Just noticeably so much warmer than anything else.
Well, Ottardo is going to take just one step into the room.
Okay, let me just. Okay, all right, yeah, you take a step into the room. You see those two, that barrel and that bin.
At the top is the bin.
Yes.
Ottardo. Maybe we can do it from the safe distance.
Yes. Do I detect magic?
You do not detect magic. No.
Well, in that case, Soma will conjure a magic hand and she will use it to poke the bin.
Oh, wait, there is magic. Oh no, it's just your mage hand. Sorry.
Don't scare me
Yeah,
like that.
Nothing. So you poke the bin a little bit, and
Yes.
you hear like some metal scraping sound. The mage hand doesn't have enough force, I think, to actually open the thing. It just can lift it up a little bit, the lid, that like hatch, but nothing happens.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe it is somewhat safe. If it didn't explode, it might be safe.
Yes, I concur. Safe enough for Ottardo.
But before you try to do this,
All right.
although
Well, let's see.
Okay. So
Ottardo will move in and
although do we really need to have to do this? Actually,
this is the last thing Ottardo hears as he opens or reaches for the hatch on top of that metal bin. And as you touch it, as soon as you touch it, um, they like you hardly even touch it, and it kind of bursts open. It just goes blowing the lid wide open, and two burning ghostly apparitions burst from this thing, which turns out to be a furnace of some kind. And now the heat really becomes so unbearably hot that stuff is going to happen. All right. So first of all, this haunt is going to roll for initiative. So let me roll for its initiative. Is that right? Yeah, that is right. And all of you are also going to roll for initiative, please. And then I'll figure it. Haunts are still kind of tripping me up how they work. So so you triggered that. They burst forth from the furnace, and you are now exposed to an effect of this haunt, which is the following. The target of your initial ghostly assault, yes. Okay, so you need to give me a will save, please. Ottardo, just Ottardo for now.
don't we get to act before the hunt does?
No, this is still part of that initial reaction.
Okay. Will save. Let me open Ottardo. Boom. Ouch.
Oh no, Ottardo!
He's going to hero point that.
All right, let's see.
Wow.
Okay,
Well,
regular fit. Better. Okay, so again, there's like this heat coming out of the furnace, but it doesn't seem to affect you physically. But instead, what happens is that you feel like your memories are getting burned, like pages in a burning book, and you try to hold on to some memories from the past, but you kind of mentally watch them smolder and burn away as if they had never happened. You become stupefied one, and you forget random memories, just as if
Ooh.
they weren't needed. Um, the random memories, there's no real mechanical effect to that. That's just something that will affect you in a role-playing sense, and it's of course very disconcerting. All right, so that's what happens, and now that's what happens immediately. Now we're going to start the actual round, and Birke can have a response to this. So again, there were these burning ghostly shapes. There were two of them that emerged from the furnace, like as if the furnace disgorged them, and they started swirling into the room. So this is clearly going to have some ongoing effect, just so we're clear on what's happening. And then it's Birke's turn.
Birke. Um, I guess this is. Well, it's not exactly a creature. Can she hunt prey? This?
No, it's not a creature.
Okay. Well, she's going to want to. I don't think she's going to learn anything from that. You know, haunts are more or less undead things. Would the recall knowledge let her know anything beyond that?
Sure, yeah, or a religion check.
Uh, let's do that.
Nope, spooky things. Yeah, weird stuff.
Yeah. So that was one action. You said we're seeing apparitions?
Yeah, they're like two burning ghostly shapes that are swirling into the room.
Uh, but we don't see them on the map. I guess that's normal.
No, they're not creatures. That's what I'm trying to.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Well, Burke is going to say, "You have a wand of quench. Used it. Extinguish this." And I think that'll be her turn.
All right, Lucca.
Lucca is going to I mean, I guess the cat's out of the bag about it being a haunt, but he's going to try to understand what's going on with it with his spirit lore.
Yes, yeah, perfect. Yep.
He's a little taken aback. He's like, "Ghosts, set them on fire." But they're already on fire. What does this mean? Oh, I guess I should have secreted that, but
That's okay. No, but I mean, you do notice a lot of things about it. And the most important one is that these are not technically ghosts. They are like spiritual apparitions that are commonly called a haunt. Um, and the way to fight a haunt is not necessarily with fire, like you might be able to exorcise a ghost, but um, haunts usually have a more specific way of combating them that are usually related to however those spiritual energies, um, like whatever the history is of why they are manifesting in this way. So you need to understand a haunt to really thoroughly exercise it. You can damage it using, I guess we call it vitality now, like positive
Yeah.
energy. You can use positive energy to suppress a haunt for a longer period of time, but eventually those spiritual energies, if you don't pull out the root that is causing it, they will reform and remanifest after a significant amount of time.
So Lucca shares some of this. Tis not a creature, or even two creatures, but rather a spiritual manifestation. Birke's suggestion is a wise one. I dare say that bin needs to be quenched. And I have two more actions, which...
But I think nobody actually could use the Wand of
Yeah.
Quench, so we put it
Wait,
in the stash.
one... Oh, it's in the stash because none of us are capable. Only the ranger could. That's right. That's right. None of us. We'll put it out by some other means. Do I know with that roll if dispelling would have any effect on it? I don't have any spell slots anyway. Never mind.
And I don't think because they're not magic per se.
Right. Okay. Lucca is going to helpfully continue to stand back and say, Ottardo, is there anything inside the bin? Perhaps something which doesn't belong there, like dead bodies? And I think he's going to end his turn because he's, like, got nothing else. Unless, like, well, no, I still don't have a spell slot for Dispel, so...
Okay, I should clarify one thing though, because I'm still, like I said, Haunt still tripped me up, and I'm mixing 1E where they also tripped me up and 2E. So they're not necessarily only vulnerable to vitality or positive energy. There are various ways to damage them, but you can even try to apply physical damage to whatever the physical vessel for that haunt is. But additional kinds of damage they might be weak to are also usually related to, the history of this haunt. So, I mean, I don't think I'm giving too much away that these creatures being burning implies a particular weakness. Yeah. So that's something that you would also know, that haunts have specific weaknesses.
It is weak to something that is probably counterposed to fire and heat. I can only speculate. He continues to very long-windedly expound on all of this as Ottardo is writhing in mental anguish.
All right.
Wait, I have an idea. But maybe there's something I can do after all. Oh, but it's 2 fucking actions. Oh god.
Which you should have left. I think you only used 1 recall knowledge so far.
1 recall not. Yeah, but I have to move.
Oh.
Well, that
Did
could
I
be
get the
for
sense
next
of like how large of an area this haunt was affecting? Could I see like the limits of it or something?
No room. No 10 by 10.
Just the room.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
they're like
God.
swirling and filling that space. So that's
Right. Okay. Well, Lucca will try to do something next round then when he has 3 actions.
Okay. So that's Soma's turn.
Okay. So I guess firstly we will try to continue inspiring everyone. So we listen keys, and for the next 2 actions, Soma will like. Well, basically her eyes are like widen in panic. So you think, what do you mean? Like something counterproductive to flames? I mean, I don't have anything. I have. And she'll start rustling through her bag, and she'll produce. Hey, I have this. Like, and actually, for her third action, she will throw the water skin inside in the furnace.
Okay. Okay. So you toss it in there, and it splashes, but it is, it's just a few drops compared to the heat that is emanating from that thing.
Does it evaporate?
Yeah, you're right. It probably isn't really. Yeah, because it's not consumed. Like that heat, that fire is not really consuming anything. So I don't think it would actually um, evaporate the water. It's just it doesn't have any effect really.
It's all in your head, Ottardo.
Ottardo.
Uh, Ottardo is going to check the barrel. Is it closed?
The barrel.
Yeah.
The barrel is open, and inside the barrel, you just see a couple of iron scoops.
Iron scoops.
Yeah, scoops made of iron, like a ladle, like sort of a ladle,
Oh,
sort of big spoon.
okay. Um, hmm.
So maybe the setup isn't entirely clear because maybe this device is unfamiliar to you, but it is a burn what's it called, like an incinerator essentially. So you have the metal thing, you open it up, you toss whatever you need to be incinerated in there, you close it back up, you wait until it's just a pile of ash, and then you use the scoop to get the ash
Oh,
out, put it
okay.
into the. So I think your characters would know that, but maybe it was unclear.
Okay. Okay. And the bin is open now. And
Yeah,
does
that's
Ottardo
true.
see ash inside?
Yes, there is ash inside.
Well, Ottardo is going to hazard that maybe the two spirits he sees are two creatures that were burnt in there, and maybe
Mhm.
removing the ashes and consecrating and uh, doing a ceremony or whatever would appease them. So he's going to reach for one of the scoops
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's one
and
action.
start scooping ash into the barrel with the intention of like getting
All
most
right.
of the ash into the barrel and then taking the barrel out of the the room.
Okay. All right. I like that. So you start scooping, and I mean it's gonna take some time to get all the ash. So I think we'll make that a two action thing. If that's okay.
Yep.
All right. And actually, there's a chunk in there, and you realize um, that there was something left in the remains, or whatever you want to call this. I have this problem with the mystification again because now it's whatever. I guess I'm just gonna have to give it to you then. So you find a ring among the ashes that is
Hmm.
carved with strange glyphs, and I would suspect that you don't pour that into the barrel, but you just quickly pocket that. An elegant copper ring, miniature images of songbirds. All right, but you scoop the rest of the ashes into the barrel. The ghosts continue to swirl the room and wail and burn, and they don't seem to really be interested in what you're doing. They just kind of, you know, swirl around. And then it is their turn. So, but as their turn comes up, they start lashing out. So let's see. There are three actions. So they're going to lash out actually three times at you. So this is the first one. And they miss. Then a second one. And they like swirl through the room. And basically what they do is they hit you as they pass by. And they burn you pretty badly. There's not just the fire damage, but also the mental damage, as it continues to like just give you a splitting headache, and you feel some of your memories being consumed by the fire in your head. And then one third action is another miss. Okay, so that was its routine, and then it's Birke's turn.
Uh, I think maybe if she sees Ottardo do that, she's going to move into the room and try to help with that.
Okay, hold on a second. Birke is, yep, okay, that's all good. Yep, that's fine. Oh, sorry, and Ottardo, you were hit by one of those strikes, so I need you to do a will save.
Okay. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, that's a failure. It doesn't really change anything. Yeah, yeah, like I said, it feels like your memories are starting to get incinerated. Okay, so Birka moved into the room, yeah.
That'd be one action, and then she would spend the other two helping with the scooping.
Okay. Yeah, then by this point you'll have basically all of the ash transferred into the barrel. And then it's Lucca's turn.
Yeah, well, the room is getting a lot more crowded now, actually. I'm not sure there's a whole lot I can helpfully do, so I might just delay.
All right, Soma.
Well, I guess I will maintain this bonus to saving throws, and you will what are you doing? What's happening? You are burning. What? So why are you running inside? And that's I think that would be it.
All right, Ottardo.
And Ottardo at this point will grab the barrel
Mm-hmm.
and attempt to move out of the room with it.
All right, yeah, sure. I mean, it's a pretty big barrel, but you're a pretty strong guy, so you pull it out of the room, scraping it over the tiles on the floor. And yeah, you can move like half speed or something.
Okay, there will be 2 moves to get there, I guess.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, and then it's the Haunt's turn, and the ghosts will continue to lash out, but since only Birke is left, one of them is going to barrel into her. Ooh, 32 points of damage and a will save.
Oh man, I have a problem here. I just have a problem with the controls. Like if I move Ottardo away, then Birke is in the dark and I can't select her token.
You select Ottardo, and it will show you the vision
From both. Yes, if I do this. Oh yes, that works. Thanks. So Birke makes that will save. Oh,
Okay.
oof, 32 points of damage.
Yep. And
And Ottardo cannot react to that.
and even though she succeeds at her save, she still feels stupefied by the sensation of feeling her memories get burned and incinerated. Okay, so that was the first one. Now it'll follow up with another one, which is a critical miss, and a final, which is another miss. Oh, nice. Okay. All right, so that was the turn. Now Birker.
Well, the job is done. The ashes are out, so she is going to follow out of the room.
Hey, Luca.
I guess Lucca will step up, close the door, because that seems to be so effective with these spirits, and he's gonna walk away.
All right, yeah, no, that's
Well,
fine, and
problem solved.
we can end the encounter here because you will still hear the howling and the whooshing, and you probably see like a little bit of a glow outlining the door as the light from those spirits spills out, but they don't follow you into the hallway. They don't pursue. They just continue their tormented routine. After a minute or so, Birke's stupefied condition goes away, but Ottardo's, unfortunately, doesn't.
Ooh.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
we had enough of the Gallows Pyre for today. Let's
Yeah.
go to the down library and have. Well, I didn't have my
Vandy.
yeah, Wendy to look at it. And maybe Arthur is still there, so we can show him what we found in the library about that that god or whatever those ghouls worship.
I do wonder, perhaps the ashes need to be treated. Where did you all go? There you are. Ashes need to be treated as if as if we were attempting to extinguish them. Perhaps the water skin was not enough. I suggest that we haul that barrel over to the closet with the fire suppression materials, and I don't know, dump some sand on them or something, as if we were trying to put them out.
Hmm. I guess we can try that, yeah. Ottardo would have suggested that, they'd be reburied properly or something, but we can try that too.
Simply exhuming them from the incinerator did not seem sufficient. Where did that door go? Oh, here it is. There are buckets. There is sand.
All sorts of firefighting supplies, for sure.
Yeah. Ottardo and Birke will take care of that.
So what does that mean?
Mix the ashes in the sand, I guess.
You mix the ashes
Oh.
with the... Yeah.
Treat them as if you were trying to extinguish them, dump the sand onto the ashes. It's more about the act and the intention when it comes to haunts than it is the physicality.
All right. And Birke and Ottardo really try their best to, play their part. No fancy effects happen. You just mix the ash and the sand, but there's no immediate observable effect.
And
Try it again, Ottardo.
Well,
Faster and with more intensity.
well, there's no effect here. Maybe we can go and listen in on that door, see if it's still warm.
Perhaps, but we ought to bring some buckets of sand with us, and then we can dump them into the incinerator as well.
Well, if we were going to risk waking the haunt again, we will probably need a rest before that.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Be wiser that way. Well, where would you like to leave this barrel?
I guess it would be safe in the closet.
All right. So you push it into the firefighting supplies closet, shut the door, and I would say, because it's late in the afternoon at this point, so
Yeah.
you probably head back to Atari. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. So then, that concludes today's session, as you, at least not chased by a pack of ghouls and not carrying one of your friends on your shoulders, but most of you still in working order at least, you withdraw for the day. And by the time you get to Ottardo, to Otari, the sun is low, the mist is rolling in from the sea, and you're ready to call it a day. All right. Cool. All right. Do we want to figure out the ventriloquist ring before we jump off?
Yeah, I put it in the stash
You put it in the
Or-
deck. Okay.
for anybody that would like that.
Okay. What we can do, just so that that's taken care of, is the books.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, I guess.
they're getting sold. Let me look up the rate again. What the?
It's 5 per
Oh, it
bulk, I
does.
think.
Yeah. Okay. So then you can just sell them for that amount. That's fine.
Okay, Ottardo will put this here.
All right.
Was it 5 per or was it?
So
5
Oh,
per bulk.
Does anyone mind if I hold on to the proceeds from the books I was carrying, just so I have a little cash on me?
When Soma tried to do this, you were acting. You were always thinking, why are you keeping all this money, eh?
Was I? I don't recall that. Well, maybe now would be a good time to distribute some of the coinage,
I
so that we can all have an equal share.
don't care one way or another. I think it is prudent to have our own spare coins, so absolutely don't mind about this.
Well, I'm going to move the one book I was carrying into the stash.
I
Does
think we
not
can deal with
exist.
this between sessions.
What's that?
I think we can deal with the selling between
Mhm.
sessions because we have a few
Yeah.
items to
Yeah.
sell.
Oh.
Yep. We can do that. All right. Well, thank you all.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys, and good night.
Yes. Good night, and have a great